Hello, welcome back. This is our Unit 6 Team 7 videos talk. I'm Michelle Corvin talking about the 2016 K-12 edition.
And I'm Deja Watkins, and I'll be talking about the 2016 Higher Education Edition.
And I'm Alberta Keener. I'll be talking about the 2018 Higher Education Edition.
Let's talk about online learning. That is a big deal right now. I know the window for this is about a one year or less, but we are already in the throes of it. There's a lot of benefits of online education. One is what we're doing right here. The fact that we are online at nighttime doing grad school work is one of the best things that's ever invented, because there's no way I can get my grad school degree having young children, a full-time job. There's no way I could do it without having this online availability to do everything on at night. One thing that's becoming more and more popular in the schools is BYOD, bring your own device. And bringing your own device is allowing the kids who have that technology to bring their devices to school and use them in the classroom. And the nice thing about it is you can save everything to your computer, your passwords, your accesses, your web pages, everything, and that way it's easy access for you. You can have it wherever you go, and you're already ready to log in. Another thing that's a benefit for having your own devices or online learning would be if you are being homeschooled. There's lots of online programs that you can do, and you're not stuck at one level. Should you accomplish one particular level, you can advance to the next one, no problem. It's all right there for you. Another thing is medical. Think about the kids who are really, really sick, or the kids who get hurt. They are also able to get online at home and participate in school that way. Sports, kids who are in athletics outside of school, sometimes they are having to travel for their little careers. So, well, I shouldn't say little careers, but I mean their careers, and online learning, yeah. Online learning allows them to be able to do that without missing what's going on in the classroom. We also have students who do advanced coursework online that will go towards their high school or college credits. Our at-risk students, a lot of them want to drop out. Actually, online learning has given them an increase in their percentages of staying in school. They can work at their own pace. They can do it online at their own convenience. They're not stuck in the classroom. And a lot of those students have a real problem being in the classroom and taking authority from others, whereas the online learning removes those triggers, I guess you could say, to where they can complete their education without having to worry about the conflicts that might arise around it. I'm a huge advocate for flipped classroom. And flipped classroom, of course, is whenever the student watches possibly the lecture at home and learns about the information at home, and then when they go to the classroom, you don't have to stand there and lecture and teach them everything. They should have already seen that on their own time, so you can get right into the throes of doing the practice work, of working together in groups, of creating things, of taking that learning from where it is at the basic level and bringing it into a much higher level. My problem with that, as I've said before, is that students don't do homework. They don't want to do homework anymore. It is getting them, it's like pulling teeth to get them to accomplish what they're supposed to accomplish. The little bit of homework that we assign, I know in 8th grade, I'd say, 45% of the kids do it. I mean, it's really bad right now. A lot of the kids are not doing well in their classes for the simple fact is they're not getting their homework taken care of or learning the information they need to learn. So that is something that's going to have to be a real hurdle for us to jump over in order to get flipped classrooms to work. But I love the idea. I'm all for it. Another thing that I was noticing, besides anytime, anywhere, think about those northern states with the inclement weather, all that snow. They are home a lot. Well, a lot of the schools are issuing Chromebooks to those kids. That way, should they have those inclement weather days, they already have a Chromebook at home ready to go, so they don't have to miss their instruction. And I forgot how many days it was, but they said that 3 days out of the week, if they're at home for that inclement weather, they plan on implementing them getting on their Chromebooks and working on their classwork. It's also helping lots of students graduate. I know one of my students right now in 8th grade is not a fan of being in the classroom, and he kind of only runs his own life. He got accepted to iSchool. I don't know if you know what that is. It's at Lone Star, and it's like a little classroom, like a little school within a school, and they go and they do their learning online. And they go at their own pace, so they can actually graduate early should they accomplish and complete everything that's required of them. So I am a huge, huge fan of online learning. And I think that with the blended learning in the classroom and the flipped learning outside of the classroom, I'm really hoping we see some major advances in the next few years.
I definitely agree with you, Michelle. All of what you said, the blended learning, the flipped classrooms. In the report that I read, I focused on rethinking how schools work. So schools now still follow that traditional track of educators lecturing, classrooms arranged in a certain way. We're on a bell-to-bell schedule. There's really no time for exploration, no curiosity, none of those deeper learning approaches. So with rethinking how schools work, if we want the blended learning to take place, if we want the flipped classrooms to take place, we have to make a change. In the report, they did a study and it showed, you mentioned homework not being completed. Well, one of the measures that they're taking or they're looking into is decreased homework and having alternative ways of testing. So for me, myself, I feel like I'm giving my kids a test every week or every other week. And that's all that's happening is being tested. Mm-hmm. There's not really any other way for us to assess their learning besides with the testing. Yeah. And I know for myself, when I was in school, I was not a good test taker. So for me, I wouldn't do well on the test. But if you put me in a group and we did group work, group projects, I was able to produce all of the information and I was able to let my teacher know that I understood. So I like the approach of them. I like the idea of them being able to rethinking how the schools work. Another major shift would be that they are not just focusing on, okay, your grade point average when you're graduating. They want to know, do you possess the real world skills that you're going to need to be able to make it in the workforce? And now they're even venturing out and they're wanting students to be able to learn skills that will not just carry them in one job field that they've chosen. They need skills to be able to carry them in multiple job realms. I thought that was very interesting as well. So going back to, the blended learning and the flipped classrooms, it has to be on a school level as well. Administrators have to be on board with it because there's been times when I've done things and my administrators give me the look like, what are you doing? But for me, if it's working for my kids, if they're learning, they're enjoying it and they're getting it, I'm going to try and do those things. But we all have to be on board for this to take place.
Exactly. And the selection that I read kind of touched bases on both of what you guys discussed, like the flipped classroom and the learning that is taking place in. This section basically discussed how we can incorporate technology and how the technology is made to monitor the students' learning. It kind of reflected on what you said, Deja, about you not being like a great test taker, but if you were put in like a smaller group setting, then you would thrive. But with this article, it said that a lot of the information or the data that teachers would look at would come from test taking, which I thought was very, it was controversial because like you were saying, some students are not good test takers. And I've seen them in my own classroom where some of the little first graders get really, really nervous when we take those, even just weekly tests, and then we do the district exams, really, really nervous. So, and then when I pull them for a small group, they're like able to just, it's like they can teach it.
Right.
So, definitely saw that in this article, saw how it related to what you were saying. But the article went on also to discuss adaptive learning, where it's more of a personalized learning. You are using that information from the testing that you perform, and then you're focusing in on students' problematic areas. So often in school districts, we are data driven. We're given the data, but a lot of the teachers don't know what to do with the information. It's more so like, okay, this student passed. I see 75% of my students passed. I'm okay with it. But they don't know how to use data that is given to them and tied in with the curriculum, or make it meaningful where the kids are learning or where you're able to hit those problematic areas. The article also discussed how universities are making it colleges more affordable by also doing this this type of learning, doing away kind of with tradition and more so saving college students money by not using lab kits and textbooks, etc. Also, the article discussed robotics and how in the near future robotics would replace a lot of jobs. That was a concern, job loss for people. So within 20 years, the article stated that there should be some type of concern. A lot of the jobs that we once were certain that we would keep would now be at risk of being replaced by robotics. I think a lot of times when I was reading, a lot of times I think of how, for example, the toll road, a lot of the toll collectors have been replaced with those little cameras, and you can drop your coins in the little coin receptor. And I thought of it, I was like, oh God, I kind of made a connection because I'm like, yes, a lot of those jobs we thought were certain, like you're gonna need toll collectors, but now you see they've been replaced with technology. So
what? I was gonna say, think about McDonald's too. Some of the McDonald's now, when you go in there, you just order everything on a touch screen.
Or you can order ahead and you go in and put, I'm here to pick up, and they just bring your food. It's crazy.
Yeah. So yes, a lot of jobs that we thought were safe wouldn't be so safe. Also, they were saying how surgeons, for example, surgeons was another example they used where they won't really use a lot of assistance from actual humans, but robotics to help them with problematic, not really problematic, but difficult surgeries. They also stated, like, for example, when the Olympics came in 2018 in Seoul, that a lot of the maintenance work that was required, robotics performed it. They did a lot of the maintenance work and a lot of the painting. So it also said how drones were giving tours of colleges now, where they don't, for students that couldn't come in to in town to actually do the tours, drones were doing more of the tours now. So it really gave a lot of examples of how technology would replace some of these jobs. But I liked how the article went on to say that colleges are now adjusting their teaching methods, some colleges. And they gave examples of different colleges that are adjusting their teaching methods to not only work with robotics, but to also be able to invent new ones, which I thought was great because that would prepare them for that little real world that, tied in with that what we were saying, like jobs. For,
preparing them for other sectors and not just one straight path.
Right.
Jobs don't even have yet.
Yeah. So that was basically what I was talking about. So really, really good info, and I like how they tied it in with technology or whatever. So I don't know if I should be worried now that I'm a teacher if robots gonna come in and take my job.
I know.
I think we're safe for a little bit longer.
About it, but hopefully that's not until for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, girls, it was a great week for readings, it seems like. Yeah. It was really nice working with y'all, and we'll see y'all again, hopefully, one more time. Or if not, it was nice seeing everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good one.